Welcome to the Society Sucks podcast.
And today we have with us a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt who's competed and won several golds and double golds within the last decade. He currently runs his own MMA gym in Ontario, Canada, with over 180 members and even trains others in CrossFit. He's also a YouTuber with 42,000 subscribers and counting. It is Jordan Preisinger.
Let's go.
There we go.
Happy to be here. Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, man. Doing great.
Awesome, man. No, it's definitely good to see you because I know you have a lot of knowledge that you can give so many people. So many people just gonna click on this and just know that you have a lot to say and give and inspire.
Yep. And with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into the first question. So can you take us to the beginning before jiu-jitsu came into your life? Who was Jordan and what was he like?
I was just like kind of a lazy person, like not really doing anything in life. I was just like, I don't know, I was going to school for business and decided that I didn't want to do that. And then it's funny because now that I do business, so it's kind of like, so I dropped out of school and just kind of did nothing for a bit. And then just decided, I like MMA, like I like watching it. So I figured, and I knew I'd be good at it. So then, I just like started training and just did really well. So yeah, it's just kind of all taken off from just starting training. Like my life has changed from jiu-jitsu and MMA and everything.
Nice. And how old were you when you were first introduced to jiu-jitsu?
I was like 20, I was 21. So I started at a relatively, like, I wouldn't say older age. I think sometimes people think that you had to start super young to have success and stuff like this, but you can like get to a high level pretty quickly. Like Danaher says, you can like master anything in 5 years. And I think that's really true. Like I think, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you want to get really good at something, like you have lots of time. So like, like I started at 21.
And who would you say, was there anyone in particular that introduced you to it, or what really influenced you to even pursue jiu-jitsu?
No, I was just like, I was watching UFC and I figured like, I thought I already knew jiu-jitsu just from watching it. I thought, okay, like I can do those things that they're doing. But then when I actually like rolled for the first time, I realized I don't know anything. But like no one really introduced me to it. I just before I even started training, I just knew I was going to be good at it. So I bought a gi and I started doing like I downloaded an instructional like right off the bat before my first class even. Just like started practicing. Yeah, I started practicing triangles with my wife, and they're like completely wrong and awful. But so yeah, I just like something I knew I was going to be good at. So I just pursued it.
Wow, I'm curious to know then. So, I mean, it seems with that kind of mentality, you were just like it was like an instant connection, or did you feel like slowly you started to get into it? Like,
no, yeah, it was like instant connection. So like basically as soon as before I did my first class, like I told my wife, like, I'm going to be a champion at this. And like, it sounds a little corny, but like, that's actually like what I said. And I didn't really know what that meant, but like, because I didn't really know anything about jiu-jitsu competition, but like, I feel like I've like achieved that, at least in my sense of like accomplishments. So I think that's really cool. And I just have that mentality in general. Like, I just feel like I can be good at anything. Like, but I think anyone can. I think people like, I don't know why people like think that they like put like limits on themselves, like, or what they can do. So I think it's really cool that my gym is called Limitless.
Limitless. Yeah, exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah, right. Because that's my mentality. Like I can take anything and think like, okay, I can become a master at that if I want. So like, there's lots of things that I've like thought about pursuing, and it's like, if I want to do that, I'm going to be like the best at it, or maybe not the best at it, but I'm going to be very high level at it. So like, yeah, I just have that mentality with everything, because anything can be learned, like, especially with the internet, there's some endless resources to get good at and just master anything you want. So yeah, that was my mentality, and it is with everything. Same with the YouTube channel. So like the YouTube channel, I knew 100% I was going to have 100,000 subscribers and I was going to do really well. And this is before I even upload my first video. Like, I just knew that that's going to happen, because I'm going to think of every possible way to get there. I'm not going to accept like failure. And and when it wasn't going so well, like in the beginning, it was not that it wasn't going well in the beginning. Like, I was getting like maybe 1 or 2 subscribers a day, and like that's not like acceptable to me. So like, I had to constantly think like, what can I do to change this and to progress. So I think it's really cool. I've thought of a lot of things of how to improve my videos, and now it's cool seeing like other YouTubers kind of picking up on the same things and improving their videos. So yeah, I feel like I've kind of like raised the level of the game, which just by my own like frustration of not being successful. Of like, I kind of raise the level for everyone. So it's really cool to see that.
That is definitely, and I've seen the, the blow up, and that I'm pretty sure that shows the immense hard work paying off. And I'm curious to know, like, this confidence, like, you can feel it through the screen, you can feel it by how you speak about things that you like to pursue. Were you always this confident growing up, or was it like a thing you slowly started to develop?
So like, yeah, that's actually a really good question, because like I spent like my childhood being very like unconfident and like and things I was doing, which is a really like a tough thing, because I also felt like I had a lot of potential, but I didn't have the confidence to actually pursue anything. So that's what I mean. Like I was kind of like lazy. Like I was like an athletic person, but like I never really like pursued anything like hard in terms of athletics. So I kind of like had a lot of wasted potential as a kid. So yeah, I feel like I had to like make up for lost time, and I always had like a chip on my shoulder too. It's like I gotta like prove like to myself and to others like that I can do it. So I think it comes from like being a kid and just like and having that lack of confidence. So it's like now I gotta do it. So yeah, it's just like something I've kind of developed over time. Like I'm just a very competitive person too, and I just want to succeed in everything I do. So yeah, it's like, and like like if I feel like I'm not, like it drives me crazy. So it's like that's just what influences like like yeah, it's what influences me to like think of how can I improve. So yeah, it's like the struggle, like with struggle comes growth, right? So the struggle is an important part. So I think it's funny too, like with some things like the YouTube channel or like other things I've done, like my wife's been like, is it even worth it? Like you're so stressed out, like it's like, is this even good for you? But it's like, no, like this struggle is like a very important part of the process. Even though I'm like really down right now about it, it's like this is gonna be what creates the success. So I think people sometimes when they're feeling down about something, they kind of have to like yeah, just go through it and just like dig themselves out of that hole, and improvement will come.
Yeah, that's exactly right there. And so now I'm wondering about also more of your mindset when it came to stuff like this, because a lot of things that you're saying right now are like those people have to go through like personal development, or like read some books, podcasts, YouTube videos, need to get themselves a mentor. Did you have any things that influenced your mindset that got you speaking things into existence, or like saying these things of I know I'm going to be a champion if I just try at these things? What was really the turning point in your mindset?
I wouldn't say like anything too specific. Like I have like read like a decent amount of like self-improvement books and stuff like that, but yeah, it's kind of like all these things, you kind of pick up like the most important parts from them and kind of like what resonates with you, and then you kind of go off that. And same with like jiu-jitsu too. It's like that's how I've become a good teacher too, and good at jiu-jitsu. I feel like it's because I've picked up certain things that people have said that have really resonated with me, and then when I say it to other people, it resonates with them too. So it's almost like collecting these kind of good things. And yeah, so it's hard to really pinpoint anything specific. It's just the nature of being very competitive and very driven, because like my like life goal is basically to become rich, which is like a really I don't know, not a strange thing, but it's like that's when I'll really know, like that's what I feel like I'll have really succeeded, when I can like have like generational wealth and like be able to provide for my family. So yeah, because I'm like, I don't know, I'm kind of like driven a little bit by like anxiety in a way too. It's like I want to make sure that like my kids and my kids will always like be fine, and really driven by like that family kind of safety net. So yeah, it's like that's my big goal. It's that I can always like that my family will always do well, like financially.
No, that's good stuff right there. And how's your do you have a support group or people that are helping you or keeping you accountable in this, or is this all you right here?
So it's mostly me, but like I have a business consultant like for the gym that he's very like helpful in like keeping me motivated and keeping me on track, because like like anyone, like I have like I go through some like mental health problems at times, and like I like lack motivation, and then it's like he's telling me like well, look all this opportunity in front of you, you have to like go get it. And it's kind of like a kick in the butt, like, oh yeah, like I gotta kind of stop being in this bad place and start like progressing and taking and like going after what I can get.
Wow, that's really important. I really do agree that having someone there to like kind of give you that little bit of push, like keep going, you got this kind of. But when it comes to like mental health and anxiety, do you feel like you should be emphasizing time for it, or do you set time to like maybe sit with your thoughts a little bit and like really feel why you're feeling a certain way?
Yeah, I think it's a really good thing to do, which I do all the time. Like
Mhm.
I like to spend time by myself and just like think and yeah, just like without distraction, just like think. And I think that's a great way to resolve your issues and what you're dealing
Mhm.
with. And yeah, I think it's like kind of like meditation. I think meditation is more like you try not to think, which I got to start meditating more. Which I don't really a lot right now, but I think it's also good to do like the opposite, where you just let yourself think and figure out these problems and
Mhm.
if all these solutions.
Yeah. So I guess adding on to that as well, like what other practices or hobbies you have set in place to deal with, overthinking or anxiety and things like that?
I wouldn't really say I have any, and like that's the problem with me personally too. It's like I
Mhm.
need a hobby other than trying to get ahead in life, because that
Mhm.
just becomes really yeah, kind of stressful for me at times. So I wish I could like play video games or something, but I just like I used to, but now I just don't I just can't stay focused on it because I start thinking about all these other things. So it's like that's something I personally need to get better at, is like kind of stepping away from like all my thoughts and like just like relaxing and being in the moment, all that kind of stuff.
Mm. I guess what I'm getting
Super
from this as
important.
well is, do you feel like you're in a constant race? Like, do you feel like you need to be fast paced at everything you do?
Yeah, that's like you hit the nail on the head. So that's definitely how I feel all the time. Like I feel like I'm in
Mhm.
such a rush, and
Mm.
that's like a rush to get things done and to progress. And that's like I don't know what the word is, like it's like it's something that a lot of people have. It's like a not a disorder, but something along those lines where yeah, you always feel like in a hurry, and like that's like the worst
Mhm.
feeling, I think, because you can't just like relax and chill. Because like yeah, the YouTube channel, like I want to get to 100,000 so bad. I want that like
Mm.
I want that plaque from YouTube,
Yeah.
to send me. Yeah, until I get that plaque, I don't really feel like I made it yet. So like I'm doing well, but it's like I want to get there now. So I'm always thinking like, how can I make like better videos that everyone wants to watch, subscribe, and so
Mm.
it's just like always on my mind, like how to progress.
Mm. No, that's interesting because I guess I can also fall into being like a curse and a blessing because it's this like self-propelled thinking where you know that you need to be ahead. So you're, matching it with the work, but at the same time, you're also never satisfied, which, I guess it's a cycle. It causes that same cycle to
Yeah,
just keep going. Do you
that's
feel like you'll
exactly
feel
it.
that same way when you hit 100,000?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like
Yeah.
so that's a great way of putting it. And it's like in like a story or a movie, it's like the character's tragic flaw, which I feel like I've always had in that sense. So like it's like something like really good about you, but it also is your flaw, which like so it's like
It's a
such a cycle
double-edged
that way.
sword.
Yeah, exactly. And so like yeah, it's funny. I tell my wife these things that like, I want to get to here, then I'll be like so happy. But she's like, probably not. Probably you'll want to like get to the
Mhm.
next step after that point.
Yeah.
And so it's like I can
Yeah.
never kind of sit still. Like I always want to go forward, and I'll have a new goal once I hit 100,000.
And I feel like I guess we're not alone in that sense because I know several other people who think that way, and it's like it's destination based happiness, and we're always told that that's not a thing. Like it doesn't work that way. You can't arrive at a certain place or get a certain goal, and then suddenly that equates to happiness. And it's funny
Yes.
how, despite knowing that, we still feel like we need to be
Yeah.
there to be, to be happy. So,
Exactly. So that's exactly it. And so that's something like, I have it like written down on my phone. It's like as like the screensaver. It's like stop trying to get ahead in life so fast and just kind of like live in the moment. Because
Mhm.
yeah, like you said, like a lot of people have that same problem where it's like destination based happiness. So yeah, I it's tough to not feel that way.
yeah,
It's tough when you like know you shouldn't feel a certain way, like logically,
yeah,
but then like your mind doesn't care about logic and just does
yeah,
it what it wants to
And
do
just does
anyways.
it anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I guess that's the difficult part is learning to dial that down because I guess there's a balance with all things, including that, is knowing that, I should be going at a good pace, but I also shouldn't be trying to get so ahead that I forget to enjoy the people around me or live more in the moment and
Yeah,
not just pass by. And once I get there, look back and be like, dang, did I ignore everything else that was supposed to be important? Was I not living in that moment? So,
exactly. And that's most people's regret in life. It's like they were just trying to get ahead, so much. And then once they like are older, they like wish they weren't like that. And so that's something I've tried to avoid but yeah, it's been like very tough to avoid just because, yeah, I just like this is like my hobby is like trying to get ahead. So it's almost like being like an entrepreneur is like a good and a bad thing. So it's like if you have like a, you know, like a 40-hour a week job, it's like you pretty much work those 40 hours and that's hard for people to do. But like, you know, you don't really take it home as much. Like where you're an entrepreneur, you're just like you instead of you can always, whenever like you could be doing something, you always think to yourself, well, I could be, you know, working instead. You know, I'm like, it's almost like, yeah, it's hard to like relax and find relaxation time because you can think I could be working on this, working on that. So it's tough that way.
No, that's a really good point right there too. And that's something that's also changed my mind about the way I view job versus entrepreneurship. Because I used to like look at people and think, why doesn't everyone just start their own business? Why would you want to work a job? Why would you want to work for everyone else? But then owning a business myself, I also then realized that, okay, now I understand, because you always feel like you could be doing something to add to your own business. And whereas a job, you know that if you work a certain amount of hours, you're getting paid a certain amount of money, and that's that.
Exactly.
So like now I can kind of understand that the difference within these two and respect both, because I feel like we need, obviously, you know, both these things in order to have a sustainable society, basically.
Exactly. So I think sometimes people think that like, yeah, being an entrepreneur is kind of like the best possible path you can take, but like it has its challenges, just like working like a 40-hour week job has its challenges. Like for me personally, like that's what's also driven me too, is I really hate working for someone else and having to like punch in like you know, on the time slot, like and stuff like that. I really like that's not me at all. So like, yeah, it's like I've had to you know, spend all this time becoming an entrepreneur. Like I really had no choice, because yeah, I would really not enjoy that for me.
And it's interesting too to see the irony in the fast-paced thinking that you have, and then looking at your YouTube content, because everything's like, you know, slowed down, rolling commentary, and then you make sure to break it down step by step, and then you as a person, you want to be fast-paced, you want to get there. So it's just funny to see that irony there.
Exactly. Like I'm a pretty chill person, like in general. So it's kind of a weird mindset. It's kind of a weird thing. I'm like super chill, like relaxed, like but I'm also like very like stressed and like motivated and driven. So it's like a kind of a weird dynamic.
Interesting. And I guess now I'm gonna take the wheel and kind of turn towards like jujitsu a little bit, because I'm kind of interested to pick your mind a little bit when it comes to concepts versus techniques. Like, could you explain the importance of each in your eyes and why you feel each of them deserves their own independent time?
Yeah, so I think like a lot of times people overcomplicate jiu-jitsu so much, and they overcomplicate the concepts. And like to me, like a concept is like, don't let someone grab your head, rather than like a concept of being like talking about physics and all this crazy stuff that like confuses me. So I think that the concepts are really like the in-between, and like what you have to do to set up your techniques. So it's like, if I don't let someone grab my head, like that's just a concept, you know, then I can actually do the techniques that I've learned in class. But it's like a lot of gyms don't teach the concepts, so the people can't do what they learn in class because they have their head grabbed and they're wondering like, why can't I get anything going? So I think there's like a time, and there's like space for both. You have to know techniques and you have to know concepts, and when you like combine them, that's really when you do the best. So yeah, it's like I don't really think of like techniques as I'm rolling whatsoever, but I think of the concepts more so, like, but it's because I know so many techniques at this point. So it's like you definitely have to like do both, and like the in between matters so much, and that's what the concepts are for the most part.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, no, I can see that being a definite benefit for anyone, and the incorporation of concept and technique. Do you feel like one overpowers the other, or are they equals?
I would say like they're equals. So like, you know, it's just it's hard to like it's hard to like, I don't know, communicate this but it's like, yeah, so if I'm playing half guard, it's like I can't let someone grab my head, I can't let them get the underhook. I know that I should stay on my side too. And then now it's like, what grips am I going to take to do this technique, right? So it's like, and you have to think of where their weight is and everything like that. So you can't, if you wouldn't be able to get the technique off if you didn't have the concepts in place. And yeah, so there's such a time and place for both. And I think that it's very hard for instructors to teach concepts because you really need to see it as it's happening. So I think that's what's really good about my channel, like all like the slow-mo and stuff like that, is because you can actually like see it as I'm saying it and it's at the exact same time. So it's like, you know, keep your hips higher to win a scramble.
Yeah.
Well, you can see like I'm purposely moving my hips higher, but that's not a technique. You know, it's you don't learn that in class. Okay, we're going over keeping your hips higher. We
Yeah.
could you could you know, you could do
Sure.
that, I suppose, but you never see that. You would never see
Yeah,
that. You would
you
see it.
never do. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you would see like, you know, we're doing like arm bars today. Move your arm here, move your arm there. So it's like people don't get that in between, and you know, then they don't have success, and then they get discouraged, or they don't get as good as they could be otherwise.
Yeah. And on that note right there, what are some concepts or techniques that you see other gyms lacking in when it comes to teaching new students?
I would say like like my 20 tips video, I feel like none of those tips are like taught to anyone at gyms. So yeah, there's just so much, but like I'm not a perfect instructor either. Like I think I'm a good instructor, but it's like I'm constantly thinking of how can I teach my students better, you know, because I want to be the perfect instructor. So, you know, I think because I don't want to criticize anyone else, but I feel like sometimes other instructors, they aren't really have that mindset where it's like, okay, I got to constantly be improving my teaching and how I'm delivering the information. A lot of times it's like, oh, I learned it this way, so I'm going to teach it this way. So it's like you put your arm here, your foot on the hip here, but that's like, you need to be constantly progressing to make the experience better for your students so they can learn better. So yeah, there's like so many concepts I feel like instructors are lacking of what they're teaching and focusing too much on individual techniques. But I also think that it's improving now. Like I think Jiu-Jitsu instructors are going to get better and better at teaching because it's just like that's what it seems like now anyways. People know that, you know, no one likes warm-ups, for example, and like a lot of gyms are getting away from warm-ups because a lot of times they're useless. Like we don't shrimp along the mats at my gym. We don't like, you know, do cartwheels and stuff like that. We get right to the class because in my mind, people can they can get fit in their own time, you know, because first of all, they're gonna get fit from rolling. So why take away energy that they could be used rolling? You know, they're using it to do push-ups. They can do push-ups on their own time. Like they're paying me to learn jiu-jitsu and get better at jiu-jitsu, not to, you know, get a good chest pump or something like that, right? So
wow. You never really think about it like that sometimes, because I guess jujitsu should be like a balance of fun and kind of I want to come back and learn jujitsu, or like instead of like, oh wait, am I gonna come work out or am I gonna practice what I want to?
Well, exactly. And I think that the best way to teach someone jiu-jitsu is to make them want to come back to class. So it's like not necessarily like, you know, you don't have to like treat your students like they have to get the techniques like absolutely perfect and it's so crucial. It's more like make sure they keep coming back to class, they're having a great time, and then now they're going to get better at jiu-jitsu because now they're more engaged when they're in class, they're coming to more classes, they train more consistently, they don't quit. So I think the class experience is so important and something I've always strive to always better, because like I really feel like my students always have a great time in class. And that's the most important thing over anything, is having a good time, because that's what they're paying for, really, you know.
100%.
Yeah, no, that makes exact sense. So I guess with that as well, what can someone new expect when entering your gym specifically?
I think what they can expect the most is just like friendly faces and everyone just being super chill.
That's
And
awesome.
that just comes from having a good environment, you know, a good atmosphere. And it's all set by like the instructor and I think and all the instructors. So yeah, you need to have a good atmosphere, because then the person's going to stay, even if they're kind of like weary on like, oh yeah, I don't know like how much they love the actual jiu-jitsu, but they just love the experience, and then they'll kind of like grow to love jiu-jitsu and everything. So yeah, you need to have a good atmosphere and like just where it's super welcoming and you don't feel awkward at all. Because I've like done things like I tried yoga once and I went to the class and it was just a little awkward. Like I just felt like super like oh, I don't know what I'm doing, you know. And like people were nice, but like they didn't I didn't feel like super like overly welcomed. Not that I was not welcome, but like yeah, I just felt a little awkward. So like I didn't really want to go again. So I didn't. And then I did go to another class, and then I didn't really want to go back. And but if I had a great time, like I would have came back and I would probably be doing yoga still, you know. So same thing with jiu-jitsu. You got to make sure they have a good time.
I feel like you emphasize that teacher-student relationship. And in one of your most recent Instagram captions, you said, I used to want to make a legacy for myself as a competitor, but now that goal has shifted to a legacy of a great teacher. For me personally, that is the more important and meaningful legacy, achieving that goal each day as I perfect and innovate my craft. Tell us about like why you started to feel that shift within yourself.
Because I just don't like competing. Like, you know, I get too stressed out, and it's just not what I want to do. So I feel like I've always just done it because I'm good at jiu-jitsu and good at MMA. But like, yeah, did I want to do it? No, like, you know, not at all. And but I really like teaching, and I like helping people. I like people having a good time. I like people like really improving their lives through jiu-jitsu. So that brings me a lot of joy. Like if someone like they didn't have like a group of friends before jiu-jitsu, like they went to work, they went home, they just talked to their family, whoever, maybe had some work friends, but now they have like a whole group of people they can like hang out with and talk to, and that just like makes me so happy. Like that's what jiu-jitsu is all about, I think. And maybe they're not like a killer, like they're not like amazing at jiu-jitsu, like, you know, beating everyone up and they're the next, like, you know, Gordon Ryan, but that doesn't matter at all. Like they have a new hobby that they like, and yeah, this brings me a lot of joy. So that's also why, like, I feel like my gym's like, it's not that it's not competitive. Like we have a lot of good guys, but like we don't have like a ton of people that compete, because I just didn't really push it because yeah, to me it's like that's just not what I don't want to have. A super competitive gym. I want to have a gym where we just like hang out, have a good time, roll, go home, and feeling in a good mood from it. Like, you know.
No, that's a really good point right there, because I'll say that for myself, it wasn't jujitsu that brought me to the gym. It was for me, because I saw jujitsu as more of like, oh yeah, I could add this as a form of cardio, maybe some fun cardio or something. I'm not even sure I wasn't sure what to expect. But what kept me coming back and seeing it as something more than that was the people. It was a sense of community. It was the welcoming. It was that it wasn't this stressful competitive environment where the moment you got in, you were expected, or, you know, you had all these expectations of you. So for sure, I can see that within myself, whereas once I saw it as, oh, you know, maybe this is just some cardio and didn't know what to expect, it was more like the people that kept me coming back. So.
Exactly. And especially when, you know, jiu-jitsu can have such a fall off rate where people they just quit, right? And I think that's mostly the fault of like the gym as opposed to jiu-jitsu itself, because we have a really good retention rate at our gym, and just because, again, it's just a good atmosphere, so you want to come back. And you know, I think, yeah, like you want, like, jiu-jitsu is like more than just like, you can't pin, everyone has a different reason for doing jiu-jitsu. So sometimes people want to do it just for self-defense, or they want to do it just to compete. So it's like everyone has their own reasons, but if they don't want to come back, then they're not going to get any benefit, you know, and they're not going to be able to get those benefits.
Yeah, I think that's pretty, like, that's the beautiful side of jiu-jitsu, I feel like, because it's like the camaraderie side, the coming together, the, you know, we're here to, you know, not only become better, but help each other become better. And I'm glad that you emphasize that in your gym, because I know that definitely goes a long way, because you really never know. Maybe someone's just not feeling the best a certain day. They come in and they're just like, you know, this turned my day 180.
Exactly. And I feel like right now in society, like there's such a mental health crisis, especially for like our generation. So the more we can, you know, help people with that and, you know, have them enjoy their lives, like that's what really matters over everything. So yeah, I guess back to my Instagram posts, like that matters to me so much more than, like, you know, being like a UFC champion or something like that, which used to be my goal. I thought for sure, you know, I'm going to be a UFC champion. I can take out all these guys, no problem in my mind. But like, you know, then I just realizing I don't really want that, you know, that's not really going to bring me happiness. So yeah, just like helping others and just enjoying teaching and just living my life. I think that's a better goal for me.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
Love that, man. I really do. And I know recently you actually partnered with BBJ Fanatics. Could you tell us about how that came to be, and what do you think this will bring not only to yourself, but jiu-jitsu overall?
Yeah, so they just sent me a message on Instagram, and I was just like blown away. I was like, oh my God, like
that is mind blowing.
Yeah, it was so cool. And like, yeah, so it was really cool, and they treated me really nice, and I had a great time filming for them. But I feel like I could have, like, I feel like it's a good product that I released, but I feel like I could have done even better, like if I edited it, just because I don't think they did a bad job editing whatsoever. I think they did a great job, but like, you know, I wish I could have like added in like rolling footage and really structured it the way I wanted. Some voiceovers, like some just not voiceovers, like just regular. And just, I wish I could have created my own product there. So so that's what I'm gonna do going forward with my next instructionals. Like, I'm gonna make them myself, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna release them through BJJ Fanatics or not. Like, like if they've offered for me too, and I can go back and film with them anytime. But like, I don't know what I want to do, because I just like being in complete control, and it's nothing on them at all. They're amazing. I'm just such a perfectionist, and I like having my hands on it completely. So yeah, it's like, I'm not sure if I'm going to go with them again, or if I'm going to just release them on my own. Like, kind of see what the future brings.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I guess that really just shows, you know, the kind of mindset you have, and you want it to be really good for everyone else. And I guess that's just what emphasizes it. But that's awesome, man, because I know that's a platform that so many will just find you on, or, you know, just so many benefits, honestly.
Exactly. Like, my plan, I want to have the best instructionals anyone's ever seen in their life, and just be completely blown away from them. So, by them. So like, I have so many ideas that I'm going to implement, because it's the same thing. I think like, how can I improve? Like, how can I improve the existing model? Because I don't think that it's maxed out to how good it can be. Like, it's still very in like the like the 90s style of like, okay, I'll show you this technique right now, I'll show you that technique, but there's like so much more you can do. And like, I don't want to give it all away of like what I have in mind, but like, I got some really cool ideas that I think they're going to really take instructionals to the next level. And it's the same kind of thing. I think once I've like done some of those things, I think other people will start catching on and start kind of doing the same thing, which is totally fine with me. I think it's cool when people like copy me, because, you know, it's like, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. And I just think sometimes with some of these things, I just I've thought of the best way to do it, so why would anyone not do it that way? So like, just like, you know, so it wouldn't make sense to see it done that way and not do it that way too. So the YouTube is a great example, because like, you know, everything's filmed in 4K. Now everyone's got to film in 4K if they want their, you know, their videos to be really watched. And now I put in captions. I was like the first one to put captions in, and now everyone's putting captions in theirs, you know, just the voiceover in general. So instead of being like, you know, like teaching it and showing it, now I'm showing it and I got the voiceover over it. And like, now I see a lot of people doing that too. So it's like, why would you not do that? That's like, it makes sense. So like, I can't like knock anyone for like, you know, copying me, because again, just like good ideas.
No, and that's exactly what I was about to mention as well, is that it seems like you're always trying to stay on top. And even from the beginning, like, you have had like high quality consistently. So it hasn't just been one thing where like, the way I see it's like, you're not the person that says, oh man, this took a lot of effort, maybe I should take it down a notch. You're like, no, like, this took a lot of effort, I'm going to keep on making sure it's the best. Because what I noticed differently as well is like, you know, you have the footnotes going on, you have you know, you have like a 360 panning of it constantly, you know, going around, getting angles, not just a stationary camera, and the, you know, the coach trying to make his voice louder to be heard. You know, you have that voiceover going on, and you have it slowed down, and you know, it's just it's the quality's for sure there. And that's why, you know, when you said you were sure you're going to get 100K, it makes sense, because the effort is worthy of that and much more. So
exactly. And that's a good example too. Like, no one really did slow-mo before I did, but like slow-mo for jiu-jitsu is just like, it goes so well together, you know, because you can actually see the things. It's so hard to see like when it's not slowed down. So when it's slowed down, it's so much easier. And I think that's something you're going to see a lot more to it. And again, the stationary camera, people just have their camera put out, and then, you know, you can't see all these angles. But you know, it's funny, sometimes people think that I have like a whole like crew to do this stuff, but I just like, it's just like my one of my students and instructors at the gym, she takes the camera, films, and then I just do the rest. I edit the rest. It's like, it's not a big like production. It's like pretty simple, really.
Wow. No, that's good stuff. Yeah, because like I said, the quality's for sure there. You're well on your way to 100K, and there's been, I mean, you've seen the consistent growth as well, because I'm pretty sure I think I subscribed to your channel when you're at around like 19,000, 20,000, and so now it's like doubled, I believe. So it's just the growth is for sure happening.
Yeah, there's been some crazy good months. Like one month I had 15, like no, almost 16,000 subscribers in 1 month, and it's like blew
Wow.
my mind. But it's like I also understand like it's hard for me because I want to get 16 or I want to get 17 next month or like 18. I want to always be growing past that. But it's like I also understand it's not really realistic that you can't have like, you know, explosive months every single month. So some months you're going to be more like, you know, doing a more steady amount of subscribers. And but yeah, it's hard for me to deal with. I'm like, oh, I gotta get like 20, I gotta get more, I gotta get back to like the you know, extreme growth.
Yeah, which I guess also leads me to my next question about how you're able to find the balance with, you know, putting out consistent content and quality, and how you balance that with, I guess, everyday life.
Yeah, so that's a good question. That's something I'm trying to improve every day. So like for a while I wasn't doing a good job of managing my time and managing that kind of stuff. But now it's like I'm kind of committing to like I'll work on it from Monday through Friday and I'll take the weekend off and like not think about
Okay.
YouTube at all. So
Yeah.
that's like, but it's just been, which has been hard like for this last video because I got a video coming out. It's how to not get, oh, it's how to beat bigger and stronger opponents. And I just had so many problems with like the technical side because like my hard drive, all this stuff.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, it's a long story. So I can't have it out till tomorrow, which is really frustrating. And so I've had to work on it during the weekend. But yeah, generally I'm just trying to work on it Monday through Friday and to kind of treat it just as like a job. So like, you know, but like a job I like. So I'll work on it Monday through Friday in the day. I'll teach class at night and I have the weekends off.
And I think that's the best kind of balance you can have because you just leave the weekend to just everyday life. And then when you know Monday's about to come around, it's like full effort back in.
Exactly. It's
I
good to
want,
take those days off.
yeah. One thing that we were mentioning before in the videos, the thing is we can all have the highest quality, the best cameras, best audio, but when it comes to the content that is being filmed, you know, the information, these are the things that are resonating with the people. Because I know he was the one that actually put me on your videos, and as soon as I watched a couple, I was like, wow, you know, he explains it in a certain way that just clicks for me. And it, like you said, the concepts, the like not letting him get behind your head, the fighting grips, not letting like fight the grip, doesn't let you do what you want to do. You know, like there's just so many things like that that once you instantly implement them, it changes the game. And that's what I feel also shoots it to the moon.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So that's something like I think that kind of sets me apart and kind of eases like my mind of like that I'll always have a space on YouTube because I don't ever want to like you know, just because other people figure out how to do 4K and captions, all that stuff doesn't mean that like, you know, they're gonna be like the next big thing or something. Not against them, but I mean like because I want to be number one. That like for me, I want to be like the number one YouTube channel. And I think that like because I am just good at explaining things, but it's mostly because like just these things that other people have said like over my time of learning, they've resonated with me. So it's like anything that's resonated with me, now I start saying it resonates with other people. So it's like not everything have I thought of like myself 100%. It's like I'm sharing such a collection of thoughts and ideas from so many other people that are really good at jiu-jitsu too, because I've been watching instructionals like since like day one, trying to get better from day one, doing like so much homework. And yeah, so it's like, yeah, such a collection of their thoughts and my thoughts and put together to like make a really easy way to learn jiu-jitsu because yeah, I think jiu-jitsu is so much more simple than people make it out to be. And I'm really happy to be able to provide that like easy learning for people because I do think it makes like instant improvement in people. And at least that's what a lot of people have told me. And so that's really that makes me really happy because I want people to be good at jiu-jitsu and enjoy jiu-jitsu and, you know, love it as much as I do.
Yeah, and you know that kind of ties into my next question. You know, we are a couple of white belts. From our white belt point of view, what are some philosophies that you think would benefit us and other fellow white belts out in the world?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to give like an answer for that one, I guess, because there's just so much that goes into jiu-jitsu. And you know, if in terms of like advice, I would say just keep training always, you know. And like even when you're feeling down, because you know there's so many times I've wanted to quit I felt down on myself, and that was more like the lower belts, like blue belt especially. And you got to treat it as like the stock market. It's like it goes up and down, but if you just keep your money in, it just goes up gradually. Same thing with jiu-jitsu. You're going to get better at jiu-jitsu, and if you quit during the downs, that's when you lose. And that's the problem. A lot of people quit during when they're feeling down. So yeah, just like, yeah, always keep training.
Yeah, and I guess to add on to that as well, do you feel like there's an ideal amount of days people should be training to find that like sweet spot between, not burning out, but also not being uninterested?
I think for most it's like 3 to 4 days a week. Like
Yeah,
for like that's what I trained for the first like 4 years, probably like 3 or 4 days a week.
wow.
And yeah, and when I was competing at blue belt, some weeks I was only training 3 days a week, but it's only because my gym, the first one I went to, they only had class 3 days a week, so I had no choice. And then I started wrestling too after that, once a week, so then I was up to 4. And then I never had access to like a schedule like I have at my gym, where it's like you can train every day, you can train twice a day if you want. So I think that's really cool. Like, it's like that at a lot of gyms now. They have so many options, which I didn't have before. So yeah, you can't burn out. You can't like train all the time, burn out. It's like not a good idea at all. Like 3 to 4 times a week is plenty to get better. Unless you're a competitor and want to compete, then you should train a lot, as much as possible.
Yeah, and I guess, did you personally ever experience burnout? And if so, like, how do you help others who experience the same?
Yeah, so I never really experienced burnout too much at like the lower belts, just because I just always wanted to get better, and I knew that I got to keep training or I'm not going to get better.
Sure.
And I just hate losing. Like, hate people beating me in the rolls. So it's like that would drive me. It's like, keep going so that doesn't happen. But I feel like burnout now at times because it's like I teach jiu-jitsu all the time. I roll all the time. I teach jiu-jitsu on YouTube all the time. So it's like constant jiu-jitsu on my mind, or sometimes just a little much. But yeah, I don't get burnt out, but more like sometimes I just get kind of tired from it. But yeah, it's like I know the same thing. It's like never quit, because you get so many benefits from it, and not everything that's good it's not everything that's good is always good. Like it's just like a relationship, for example. It's like you have a good relationship, but you're still gonna have fights at times, right? So it's like everything is like that. So just because you're having a hard time in jiu-jitsu for like a week or two or even a month doesn't mean that it should be over.
That's true.
Yeah, I do like one thing that you always say, or I've heard you say, is that I mean, you're gonna be somewhere in 10 years, might as well be a black belt.
That's a good
Yeah,
one.
And
it's so
that
true.
makes so much sense. And I know, like, on your YouTube and your Instagram, your wife, Nikki, she's been a huge part of your life, and not only your life, but also YouTube as well. What do you feel like your relationship has brought into your life overall?
Well, I've been with Nikki like literally since I was 12 years old. Like, we've been dating for a
Wow,
long ass time.
12? Wow.
Yeah, I was 12, she was 13, and we're like the only people we've been with like for our whole lives. Like, so yeah, I couldn't do anything like without Nikki. Like, she high school, for example, she did like my homework half the time and the projects and everything, and I might not have graduated without her. And it's like same thing now. Like, she does so much for the gym, and me. So it's like we make a really good team and help each other out a lot. Like, the things she's not good at, I'm good at. Things I'm not good at, she's good at. So yeah, Nikki's like a very important person for me in my life.
That's awesome. And I know that she's still a brown belt, right?
Yeah, she's a brown belt, and she's really good. Like, she doesn't compete anymore, but like she used to compete, and she beat everyone. Like, she like would submit everyone, and she won like gold in almost every single tournament she did. She beat a lot of people that went on to do really well on like the world stage. But then the thing that changed for both of us is that we had twins. So like
Twins, wow.
exactly. So they like eat up a lot of our time, a lot of our energy, a lot of our motivation. Also, it made changes to her body, so it's like it's harder for her to like push at like that high level still. So yeah, she's had to make a lot of adjustments and sacrifices that way. But yeah, she was an absolute killer back in the day. White belt and blue belt, beating everyone up. So she's
Awesome,
really good.
man. That's so
Yeah.
awesome, man. That's really cool. And I know that, both of you are just huge things. And we're glad that, y'all are here to help us and teach us, because it's both of y'all. If you were to have someone to try technique on, if you were to have someone just there for you, we never know if Jordan teaches jujitsu would even be here.
Exactly, right. She's helped me a lot. Like, I always do like drilling stuff on her. It's really funny. One time we were like, I was drilling like De La Hiva sweeps with her like in the living room, and like I swept her like gently, but then she hit her head on the coffee table and like split open her forehead. We had to go to the hospital. They're asking her like, "Oh, is everything okay at home?" Because like they might beat her up or something. Like, oh no,
Oh, no.
So
No, that's terrible.
yeah, exactly. She's helped a lot like this whole time.
And for her, was jiu-jitsu an instant click with her as well? Like, did she feel that same connection, or did it take her a while to get into it?
It took like a little while. Just like the first gym that she like kind of brought her to, she didn't really enjoy it too much. But then she started really training at like later on at like another gym. She really liked it right off the bat. And because that's what I mean, like atmosphere matters so much. Like the first gym, she didn't feel like it had that atmosphere that made her want to come back. She felt a little uncomfortable. So and then that delayed like years of training for her, where she could have been training and she could be like a black belt by now. But so I really emphasized my earlier point. But she's always loved jiu-jitsu like since really getting into it, which is really cool because a lot of people try to get their spouse involved and they just don't love it like they do. But I think that the problem is too, it's the atmosphere and just that feeling of being comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess we're ready to wrap this thing up.
I think we're ready to wrap this thing up. Usually we end these off with just 5 rapid fire questions. And Harvey will take over.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and hit you with the first question here. It's what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Man, I don't know. I guess it's hard to. The best advice I got was from my business mentor. It's basically just told me like burn the ships, which is like it's like a long story. But basically, if you want to do something, like go like all in, make sure it happens. That's what I did for the YouTube channel. I spent $10,000 on like equipment. That's why my videos look so good. And because I told myself, if you're gonna spend all this money, you're gonna make it happen. Like you got no choice. So burn the ships. You're going for it. You're doing it.
It's like no safety net, right? Just like all in. I don't need this net. I'm setting myself full commitment.
It's crazy because that piece of advice is hitting us at a perfect moment right now.
It really is.
Good. If you have no choice but to succeed, you're gonna succeed. Like it's just you got no choice.
Yeah, I'm motivated. I'm sure other people are too.
That's a good one right there.
Next one.
So the next one we have here is, what is the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
The worst advice. Well, I don't know. I've got a lot of like, I don't know. I can't think of anything, to be honest. I'm not sure. I can't.
Hey, that's okay, man. That's okay.
Sorry.
All right, no, you're good. So the third one we have here is, what's something that you know to be true, but that others might disagree with you on?
There's a lot of things, really. I think that anyone can do anything. I think that's like it's just, I've always believed that, like as a kid, you can do anything. And like I took that like as real, like, oh, okay, I can do anything. Like if I want to become like an astronaut, I could study and do all the stuff needed to become an astronaut. That's not what I want to do. So, but like, I think that people should realize that you can do anything. People definitely put limits on themselves, think they can't. They think other people that are successful are like special or something like that, but they're not at all.
Love that one. Love that one.
Fourth question here. What's something you wish you knew earlier?
I'm not sure. It's tough. These are like deep questions.
They are very deep.
Something I wish I knew earlier. I guess just I gotta pass in this one. Sorry guys.
That's okay, man. You have no.
What if we were to reword this one? If you could tell yourself something in your 20s, what would it have been?
Nothing really. I mean, it's tough. I don't really have any like regrets. Like there's things that I could have done different. But like everything was important for my development and just like learning from it. So
that could be it right there.
That's it right there. That's a good mindset right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because some people see their regrets as like, man, if only this wouldn't have happened, then you wouldn't have been the person you are now. So I completely agree with
100%.
Yeah, my only regret is not investing in Bitcoin.
All right, fifth and final question here. If you could create one law that everyone in the world had to follow, what would that law be?
Just treat other people nice, but like, not that it'd be like a law, because I think that's like, you couldn't do that. But like, I think that a lot of people aren't nice to other people, and it's really just like, it's really, like, even like YouTube, for example, like sometimes like I get like comments where people are like really mad. It's like, I don't know why you're mad at me. Like, I didn't like, what did I do to make you so mad?
So true.
Yeah, and it's like that a lot in life. Like, people could just be so much nicer than they are at times, and yeah, it's just like, I don't like running into people that are not nice. And then when I meet someone that's really nice, like, I just really like them, because they're a nice person. So yeah, it'd be nice if everyone was just nice, but I guess that's unrealistic.
Well, there we go. I guess that's
pretty much it, man. So where can everyone go find you on social media?
Yeah, just search Jordan Teaches Jiu-Jitsu on Instagram and YouTube, or even TikTok, and yeah, that's where I am.
Awesome, man.
Awesome. Well, hopefully people go out there, find a new source of inspiration, get some techniques down and some concepts as well. So there we go. Black belt right here. Jordan Preisinger. It was awesome to talk to you, man. We had a great time with you, and I know people are going to take a lot from this one.
Definitely. We really do appreciate you taking time out of your day to be here with us. I know someone's taking something from this and hopefully achieving great.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed this conversation. It was great.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you.